Hello, everyone. It's the Jarek Brian Show. My name is Jarek, and on today's show, guys, we have an amazing guest. We have Bass Buddha with the Banshees. Bass Buddha, how you doing today, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great, Jarek. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate you taking your time to speak with me. And believe it or not, we were talking earlier, I actually just got a haircut. So just for you, left the office today after that conference, got a haircut, made sure I was looking nice for the show. Excited to be here, man. Thank you again.
Oh, no, thank you. And guys, so I've heard Bass Buddha talking in a lot of spaces, right? And very knowledgeable guy, right? And just this wealth of knowledge when it comes to DeFi and NFTs and everything like that. So when I saw him for the first time today, long hair and everything like that, I could have sworn he was a corporate, no nonsense dude, though. But this is great. No, man, I'm jealous. I don't have this long, luscious hair that he has, so this is gonna be great. But Bass, before we kind of get into the project, right, the Banshees, all this great stuff that you have kind of going on, right? Kind of give us your kind of journey all the way here into Web3, and how'd you get here?
So, for a long time now, I've had a fascination with cryptocurrency. I think it started back in 2013 was my real first exposure. I was a pretty broke college student, and I wanted to watch UFC fights. So I wasn't 21. I couldn't get into the bar to watch them for free, and I didn't want to stream them and have to pay for all of that. There was a subreddit where a guy was streaming UFC fights, and I'll never forget. He said, "I accept PayPal, or you can send me Bitcoin or something." And I'm like, "What the hell is a Bitcoin?" So I start reading a little bit. There's not a lot of information that I could find easily, but I stumbled upon the guy's white paper, and I didn't get too involved in Mr. Nakamoto's vision right away. I'm just like, this is some money that I can send to someone. Now I get to watch a UFC fight, and I pay him $5 instead of I think it's $50 or something to stream one of the fights. So that was my first ever Bitcoin, and it was around $18 when I was first buying it. And as it went on, I would go and grab more Bitcoin and send it to him, and all of a sudden I saw the price going up, and I didn't see it as an investment. I'll be the first to state I didn't. I'm paying for UFC fights. I didn't get too involved in cryptocurrency until it started ripping. $18 to buy one. I think it was $220 or something like that. When I finally cashed out, first generation college student, I did not have the luxury of, the financials were tight. So I took the Bitcoin that I had and paid for a semester of school with it, and that was that. I'm like, okay, this is fun, but I don't, I don't see this as an investment or anything like that. And it wasn't until about 2017. Yeah, don't mind my dogs, sorry. Wasn't until about 2017 where I found what Ethereum was and got involved in the Reddit community and the r/cryptocurrency. And really started learning. Okay, we can build stuff on this. What's going on here? Let me buy into Ethereum. I think I bought in when it was 1,400, and then crashed.
Yeah.
And that was my, I guess, second bear that I had ever been a part of. There were cool dApps being built out. I think DNT, District Ox was one of them. They had a meme factory. So I didn't really know what NFTs were, but I knew there were people that were creating content, trying to associate that content to a picture in the blockchain. So if if a meme caught on and it made its way viral, you could find the originator and you could pay that person. And that was my first dApp, I guess, involvement. And then 2021 rolled around, and I was looking at NFTs, dipped my toes in the water again. Had been trading see if they fight. I've been trading just by myself, not really involved in NFT communities or anything. 2021 rolls around in right about now, September-ish, and I'm learning what NFTs are, getting burned on gas in Ethereum, and found my way to Polygon. The first project I ever found was Billionaire Zombies Club. Loved that community, loved the hype surrounding it. There was content coming out every day from that place. And it, I quickly became a mod, up to a manager. Really loved what that project was doing, and the promises that were being made with that project, right? And then after the bubble, what have you, the downturn of 2021, it was like becoming more apparent that the original founders, guiders, project leaders of that community were kind of smoke and mirrors. They were making promises that they had no intention of keeping. And it wasn't a great thing. And as a I was a community manager at that time. Things were different in 2021 for sure for Web3 and Polygon, but I still had a lot of pride. I knew the people I was working with had a lot of pride, and we ended up Shanghaiing that place from the original leadership group who wasn't really fulfilling the promises. I established a DAO, a legally recognized entity here in the state of Wyoming. I published a constitution for BZC. I tried to rally, the community up the best of our ability. And myself and Johnny Metaverse and a couple of my co-founders now really, tried to pull that place back. I'm going to close my door. Quit fighting. Hush. All right. Sorry about that. So, we wrangled that community back and tried to steer it in the right direction. Took a $6,000 grant from Polygon Labs at the time and bought into the Worlds Beyond Metaverse. That's still ongoing today, trying to right some of the wrongs of that project. That is the ultimate slow cook, the long vision, if you will, for getting the BZC community, the metaverse and the game and the rentable assets, all of that. We really stuck it out for that place, and I had a lot of pride, and I learned a ton. Being forged in that fire, if you will, taught me a lot. Necessity absolutely breeds ingenuity. I learned how to operate on a shoestring budget, for a project. And all of that was kind of the culmination. This year at NFT New York, actually, I finally was motivated. It's an incredible experience. Definitely go to NFT New York or any of these conferences if you have the chance. The amount of camaraderie, solidarity, and community that was there really inspired me. I think I'm ready to start my own thing. I know that myself and who are my co-founders now, we've got the expertise, we've got the experience, we've got the artists, and we know how to navigate this ecosystem now. Let's make something that's truly ours and do the best that we can with it. And here we are now. That Banshees was born in about April of this year, though the art, the concepts, all of that had kind of been cooking on the back burner from our artist Bobo and one of my co-founders, which kind of dreamed up this ecosystem already while we were at BZC. And we quickly knew that it needed a mind, a universe, an ecosystem of its own. And we just sent it, man. And I've never looked back. I've been really thankful for the last, it's almost 8 months now that this journey has been on.
Well, okay, real quick though, and actually I've always wanted to ask this. Whatever happened to Billionaire Zombies Club?
So, the original project, it was an artist out of Singapore named Axeman, made zombie art. That's what he launched and released. The traction that this thing saw exploded way beyond an art collection. I think they took 9 or 10 days to mint out, but afterwards, people were just using the IP in very hype ways. And quickly, this thing became a little bit more than the original artist had intended for. So some leadership kind of claiming to have the best vision in mind was allowed to take some of the reins. Gaming was promised. I think at one point they were going to blow up a Lambo. It was so hype driven, very, very much riding that hype train. And unfortunately, every once in a while, that hype train's got to stop and fuel up, right? And you better have utility to lean back on when that hype train slows down a little bit. And when that hype train slowed down, we pulled back the curtains and found that much of the game development, much of the original promises that were being made for that place just weren't there. So the community, really, the mods and managers, myself, S-Rob, Witch, all of those guys, were really motivated and prideful to right those wrongs. So we, pulled that place along, got them a DAO, invested into this metaverse play that we're very optimistic about. But we quickly learned, there's no way in hell I'm going to try and sell that community anything right now, because they've bought into this promise that's being delivered. But B, I can't take hype to BZC. 1,000 ETH trade volume across all their collections. Like, they know what hype is, and they know what a sense of community is now. And now it's like that slow cook, if you will. So it's really an exercise in patience for all of us. But I still have a lot of passion about BZC, and I'm eagerly awaiting the goals that we've reached to come into fruition. So Worlds Beyond had like a metaverse play, and we kind of fundraised into it and encouraged our community to do the same. I think we're the only project that has raised, there's asset tiers, and the amount of asset tiers gets you, certain expansions and experiences within this metaverse. I think we were one of two, or the only one to make, that full metaverse experience come to fruition. So this isn't, buy a square on a board and now you own a square that you can build in a party. And this is immersive, monetizable, and cooperative as well. So I'm really optimistic about what that's going to bring, but that's the slow cook. And I can't come into spaces and really hype that up every day, because our deliverable milestones are 6 months apart or something. And the utility of Web3 hasn't reached that patience area just yet.
No, or you could just hype it up and just say, hey, you know what? 3 more weeks, 4 more weeks, and then you can go all the way, man. I'm not gonna say any names, but somebody did that, and yeah, man. I mean, well, it didn't work out too great for them. Now they're gone. But hey, man, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Hey,
let us cook.
Let us cook. But yeah, and I was always kind of wondering that, because I've heard Johnny was in it, and then of course, so it's good to see that it's still kind of around. And let's kind of jump into actually Banshees, right? In April, you guys came out, kind of explained like what the Banshees are, and kind of like the artwork. The artwork is very different from a lot of NFT projects. So if you can go into that, that would be great.
Yeah. So shout out to really our artist Bobo and our co-founder Witch, who gave life to the Banshees while we were still at BZC. Actually, we had plans for a female expansion with Billionaire Zombies Club, but we quickly found out that, like, Charlie's Angels aren't a spinoff, Powder Puff Girls aren't a spinoff, Kill Bill's not a spinoff. Like, all these badass women that we really wanted this project to be, like, didn't come from, giving a zombie long hair, if you will, is the alligator, the relation that we kept talking about with this. Like, this is a robust universe that really needs to stand on its own as these fierce, badass assassins. And, badass assassins don't stem from an afterthought or a side project or any of that. So the art, the lore, all of that is really the inception of Witch and Baba, who brought that to life. But we noticed there's really a void, and especially at the time when we launched Banshees, there's a void of female representation in PFPs in general, and there's really, Polygon is very nice, and we all get along and stuff like that, and like, so we found a void for the art that we could fill, but we also found a void for like this mantra that we can empower. And like, I'm a pretty friendly guy on spaces and stuff like that, but the allure of the Banshees is that they're here to do 2 things: kick paper-handed ass and snipe undervalued floors. And we can hang our hat on those 2 fundamentals no matter what. As long as we're kicking ass, as long as we're sniping floors, Banshees are fulfilling what they set out to do. In Celtic folklore, a Banshee is like this ethereal maiden, right? And if you're unlucky enough to hear this maiden shrieking, kind of foretells your own demise. So, our deadly covert assassins took on that name and wear it quite well. The Blackmarket was the inception. We wanted to provide value and show the ecosystem that we knew exactly what we were doing. Before we tried to do a raise, before we did any of that, we wanted to grab a robust community, rally around, kicking ass, sniping floors, and then deliver value and utility to these people, before we ever asked for a dime. Coming from BZC that kind of did things the opposite way in the beginning, I knew that we had to be different and fill a niche of educated but fierce, formidable, and all of that.
Yeah, and so like sniping floors and kind of like like the black market. Can you kind of get more kind of into that in a sense of like, is there going to be like some sort of like kind of like sniper bot or like some sort of sniper function too that you guys are going to have, and also too this black market I keep hearing about? Like, can you kind of tell the audience a little bit more about that as well?
Yeah, so black market started as just the raffle house for Banshees. We wanted to put a raffle ecosystem out, and in the beginning, it really was like, hey, we've got this project. Here's some brozos on the black market, and now we can like rub elbows with the brozo community. So it was a little bit getting our name out there, but also a great way to collaborate early on with projects that we really respected. And from the beginning of Banshees in the black market, we've done things a little bit differently with the raffle ecosystem. It's not community driven. Community can make recommendations, but it's not it's not open for anybody to just go and put assets on there. The black market's curated by experts. Everything's put there intentionally. We have no minimums, no holds. There's no threshold you need to reach before an asset is raffled off. There's only timers. So, this asset, we used to say these kidneys are on ice, man. And when that ice melts, I got to find the lowest bidder, keeping with that theme, but it's true. The unlimited ticket purchases, the no cap, and that timeline really do, it always is fresh. It's never stale. There's always great assets on black market, and you never have to like look at an asset you bought into 3 weeks ago and wait for some threshold that some random community member set to be reached. And we curate it by experts because we know that when that timer goes down, the tickets purchased are going to outweigh our cost to grab those. Even in our week 1, week 2, we've scaled linearly, which is really nice. But even in the beginning, we were consistently seeing that 33% profit margin. If we had 6 assets up, one of them may have lost 5-10%, but the other ones performed in a way that made up for that. And the margins that we are seeing on the raffle ecosystem are great and still are. And we knew each week we'd try and intentionally increase the spend. Okay, do we get that back? Is that margin still there? And it in fact is. So we knew we had a solid foundation to build this infrastructure and expand upon black market to build it out, not just for a hub for Banshees to go and interact in, but really for all of Polygon to go and see what's hot, what projects are the Banshees vibing with, and grab a couple raffles while you're there. We don't have any tools that we're going to be baking in-house, but we use a couple of our own in the back end that are folks who we would call experts, I guess, who have been trading for a while, can kind of give us advice. We act on that advice. One of the favorites that I like to lean on, when we were first starting out, we were gobbling up Drill Club at like 14 Matic a piece. And most of those were for giveaways, like, hey, join the Banshees Discord and we'll enter you in for a chance to win this thing. But we kept the bag, and it was a snack at 14 Matic, and it was a snack at, I think, 150 Matic when we just bought 10 more 2 weeks ago. So there are projects that we look to as keystone projects, and anytime that we get the chance to nab up a bunch of them when we deem a floor to be undervalued, we go right at it.
That's great. And yeah, man, I honestly wish I would have had known you like at then. I would have definitely jumped on the Drill Club at 14, but it's a story of my life, right? I always fade something and then it goes up, and of course anything I buy into, of course, goes down to the floor. So I just I don't know, man. I'm getting, this dog in me is getting really, really tired of fighting. But as far as like the raffle platform, a whole bunch of them that's kind of like popped up. now, right? And what's going to be what kind of sets yours apart from some of like the other ones that have kind of like popped up, or other projects are going to kind of make theirs too as well? I've heard of a couple others that are going to do another one. Like I can't remember who though, but there's been at least 2 or 3 that I can remember. But what sets yours apart?
So we always say we are not the first raffle ecosystem on Polygon, but we do aim to be the best. And we aim to be the best for a number of reasons. If the entire raffle ecosystem is curated by experts, it's not open for the community to put what we would call clutter on. Every asset that goes up there is a project that we trust and respect and are really bullish about. So when I look, it's a collection of what myself and my co-founders are really stoked on, and we know that the sentiment in the ecosystem keeps that same feeling towards what we put up there. So it's curated by experts. It's not you can't just put anything on there that you really want. We don't have minimums. There's only timers, so it's always fresh, and there are no clutter, and that goes back to the not allowing just anybody and their brother to add assets to that. It's intentional every time we go about it. It accepts a number of tokens, and we intend to keep expanding upon that. It accepts Matic, it accepts our native token Hitcoin, and it also, individuals who stake Banshees accumulate free raffle tickets X amount of days that their Banshees are staked. So if you get a bag of Banshees and you stake them now, you're accumulating free raffle entries, and it drives you to use that black market and at least check in once every, maybe once or twice a month. My holders, and especially my larger holders, are going to black market to claim their raffle tickets, to engage in the raffle ecosystem. And last but not least, the success of the black market is the success of my community. And I have a very loud, robust, kick-ass community that is oftentimes unavoidable on social media. And I know that I can lean on them to champion the sentiment of the black market, to push that marketing, and to help us really just become unavoidable. So I've got a large backing. Every week that the Banshees put out new assets, it's got a big following, and a lot of people, a lot of eyes are seeing that. And we can back that up with the numbers, of course, which is we're continually seeing 33 to 40, sometimes 60% profit margins on the black market, depending on what's there. So we're not going to be the first. We weren't the first. We're not the only one, but we do aim to be the best. And black market is not just the place for staking and raffles. We've got a lot in the works here that, let me cook, but that's going to be the one-stop shop for Polygon here pretty soon. You're gonna be able to go and do a hell of a lot more than stake a Banshee and get a raffle here before long.
So, one, that's actually really cool. So you actually get, so let me get this straight for the audience. So you get yourself a bag of Banshees. You're going to get, not only when you stake them, of course, you're going to get raffling tickets, and you can go on this raffling site. And there's some, and as I'm looking at it right now, there's some really cool NFTs up. We got Dankasu, we've got Drill Club, of course, so many others. I could have sworn like a Metavixen here. I mean, there's quite Soul Searchers. I mean, those are some quality NFT projects. And like I said, the floor is actually really good on the Banshees too as well, guys. So definitely try to scoop you up some so you can actually use this black market. And also, so you said other things. Is there anything you can kind of leak, though, on this show? Is there anything you can kind of say maybe, or you can kind of tease something, or what can you say on that, or you have to keep that kind of tight-lipped?
Most I have to keep tight-lipped, but the one that's on our roadmap actually for Q4 is merch. So you will be able to go and access the merch that we're hoping to offer. Although the angle that we take up until 8 hours ago, I was like, okay, let's build out a Shopify, let's make this look great, and let's offer this not just Banshee merch, but strategic partnerships that we'd like to engage in. Again, I said I want to bring a lot of folks in, not just Banshees, but Polygon in general, to bring traffic to my site. So I'm not going to gate my shop or anything to just my collection. I would welcome a lot of other projects to, we want to build that infrastructure that all of Polygon can eventually take advantage of. But speaking with an individual on the chat and chill space today, I may have to hear that guy out before we go full into Shopify. But Up until just a few hours ago, I was learning how to set all that up and get that going. But we've got a ton of cool art that we're just sitting on that I don't want to release yet until we see it in the merch store. But we're not going to flood you just yet. Probably 5 staples that you can, just the essentials: t-shirt, beanie, stickers, waifu body pillow, just the staples that you need to, go about your day-to-day life.
Yeah, and I know exactly who you're talking about. I was on that space with you, and he's a good guy. Actually had him on the show, and he's actually one that I think doesn't get talked about enough, because what he's trying to do, he's actually trying to solve a kind of like a huge problem, kind of like in the space. So yeah, maybe you can connect with him, and maybe you can get a little bit, I guess, better kind of idea. I mean, he has a lot of ideas, he has a lot of like connections, so I hope that works well for you. And you did say something just a while ago too. You did say your Hitcoin, which is the coin of your ecosystem. Can you kind of expand more on that?
Yeah. So about 3 months ago, maybe even a little bit more, we had a 1% competition just to see. We don't have a mint out yet. Our project's in its infancy. The Blackmarket just came into creation, but we wanted like a rallying point for our community, something to celebrate before our mint and the Blackmarket. And we coined this 1%, right? If I can activate 1% of my community, I'm going to be unstoppable. Give me 500 folks. Give me the ability to activate 1 to 10% of them. We are going to take over Polygon. I know that. And that 1% kind of perpetuated. We did an airdrop of this native token we ended up calling Hitcoin. We had some fun with it, put a $sign in front of there, still Hitcoin. But we airdropped 1% of that total supply to our baddest bitches, if you will, in our Polygon community. We wanted to reward them for being steadfast and engaging with the vision early on and trusting in us. And it also did something else unique, which is allow us to kind of beta test airdrops and token functionality and staking mechanics, all of that in the background before we even put that up as like a roadmap quest or like a milestone that we wanted to achieve. So we airdropped this token a few months back and really rallied around 1%. We made some Hitcoin exclusive raffles on the Blackmarket and really just rallied behind this token that didn't even have an LP at the time. It was just being passed around willy-nilly, if you will. But we noticed, man, I put 1% of this token out, and in 2 or 3 weeks, we've recuperated 25% of it. Holy cow. Another week goes by, damn, we just got another 25% of that token back. The vision that we have for the project quickly became more rate to earn, engage to earn, and we knew that like a token, a bona fide token launch, one, there's not a lot. I'd like to identify voids, in the Polygon ecosystem. Don't go where there's work being done, go where there's work that needs to be done. And we knew probably about a month after our actual token launch, like we should do the real deal with this thing. I met some brilliant folks at Board Candy City, particularly Voodoo, who, one of the things a great founder should do is understand what they're not an expert in. And there is not enough time in a day or days in a year or years in a lifetime to be good at everything it takes to be good at to make a successful, great Web3 project. And I understand one of my shortcomings where I'm not an expert in is tokenomics. I don't have that finance degree. I don't have a master's in math or calculus or something, but I know who does. And they like the Banshees. They're looking to make moves on Polygon, and I'm looking to make moves in DeFi, and it was a great opportunity to get some synergy there. We could have gone to QuickSwap or Uniswap or anything like that, but I want to go where there's work that needs to be done, and I want to be a first mover in something. I get the white glove treatment with these folks, just like I do working with Magic Eden and working with Comet. You take that more personal route, and I've got these guys on Telegram I can access anytime when I have a question. And it just, that attention to detail, that availability, building in the bear, really just made this decision all the more easy to make. Go with Board Candy City, launch something great. So we had a 2-week pre-sale. I think we raised 7,800 Matic, which was about 50% of our soft cap. But when we started our soft cap and our raise, we wanted to put about 7,500 USD worth in Matic into a pairing to make a $15,000 liquidity pool. And at the time, Hitcoin was like Matic was about 50 cents. Since then, it's gone up a lot. So the success of our pre-sale was really amplified, and we were able to take and pair a token, and it's now tradable on a DEX. You can stake it in a single farm. You can stake it in a partner farm. All the staked Banshees are earning Hitcoin right now. And it's just a nice ecosystem. I could have taken really any token, but having a native token to rally a community behind, reward the engage to earn protocols and raid to earn protocols that we have, and also educate Polygon in DeFi and educate myself in DeFi, it was just a no-brainer. I'm thrilled with the success that we've seen so far in just not even the week since our pre-sale ended.
Yeah, no, and Board Candy City and Voodoo and all them, like I had them on the show too as well, and like smart guys. So that was very kind of like I like the fact that people are kind of honest with themselves and, hey, I'm not an expert in this. And as a founder, like that shows to me is like investing in a project that, hey, this guy's honest with himself, and he's like a real kind of person. Like, no, I can do it all. But you went out and reached out for help within the ecosystem, because Board Candy City is actually building a lot of like great stuff too, and they are gonna have that game to come out. They're gonna have so many things, and Voodoo is a very kind of smart guy in that. So the Hitcoin, right? You're able to get it on kind of like any on the DEX on Board Candy City. Is there any other places you can get it? For right now, it's just there.
So I haven't tried, but I'm pretty sure if you went to any DEX that has the Polygon side capabilities, you can. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I've only used Board Candy because it's my preferred. The UI is just great. It's very simplistic. It's intuitive. So I've stayed there. But our LP is robust enough that we've got makers, market makers on that. And if I talk any more detailed, I'm going to sound like a goober, because that's like the extent of my DeFi knowledge now. I'm learning. We're having DeFi 101s in the Discord, but I'm pretty sure if you pasted our token address into a quick swap or something, our token is swappable, at least for Matic, because that's the LP that we have set up. You can swap Matic for Hitcoin, Hitcoin for Matic, and you can stake both into a partner farm that would make a Hitcoin Matic LP, token. DeFi I'm like horrible at, and I wish, because last bull run it was, everybody was like talking about liquidity farms and like farming and liquidity pools and all these things, and I was just sitting there on the sideline, and they were making all this money. They had all the fame, the women, and everything like that, and I was just sitting there, just like, oh, whoa, I had this Dogecoin, and everyone laughed, and then of course that started my villain arc, and now it's a whole. I got that dog in me and everything like that, so that's why I'm pretty much trying to fight everybody. But I also want to talk about something too. I want to talk about the Paperhands. Tell me about the Paperhands. Yeah, of course. The Paperhands are like the antagonists of our story here. Yeah. The Banshees aren't these virtuistic do-gooders, if you will. Their moral compass is pretty skewed. They're the hired muscle for the wealthy elite, and a society that's in a little bit of dystopian decay, if you will. A little bit of futuristic, but yeah, they're the hired muscle for not the best people in the world. So they're doing things the way that they think they should be doing them. But Queen Obsidian, who broke off from the Banshees a long time ago, we've got lore to release on that as well. But she kind of represents the underbelly, the resistance in protecting wealthy elite, if you will. And she's a bad bitch too. She's a force to be reckoned with. She has amassed an army of Paperhands. She stole our artist and forced him into indentured servitude to create this army of Paperhands to do her bidding. If you're following along with our lore, we originally deployed to Polygon with 55 Banshees. But Obsidian knew she was waiting, man. She blindsided us, and 1,111 Banshees suffered casualties before they even deployed to Polygon. So these are real fierce individuals, man. And they they are mindless henchmen, and they are acting on behalf of almost a zealot. I would call Obsidian a zealot. She's pretty crazy, but motivated, and what she thinks she's doing is righteous, and she commands an army of 22 paper hands. She did this as a free mint. This mint wasn't paid for. I can quit talking in third person now. We put out this free mint. You get a little taste of the lore. We like to do storytelling.
I like it.
So we put this free mint out, and we had a couple statements in mind because, for if you've been building in the bear, you've seen a couple big events kind of take over the news stream, and one of those was OpenSea getting a little bit too big for their britches and forgetting the reason why they're successful in the first place, and kind of we're in a bear market when the seller is being prioritized over the buyer and the creator is what I'll say on that. And I incredibly and loudly oppose the decision from OpenSea to make creator royalties optional. I think the whole point of a non-fungible token is that the conditions that are set when a non-fungible token is created are specified by the creator. So Paperhands, being their resistance in our lore, they are the resistance to the wealthy elite, if you will, in Web3 here. So we blocked the operator function for OpenSea when we launched Paperhands, and all aggregators at the time. We opted solely for a Magic Eden launch or listing, and we enforced a 50% Paperhand tax on the sale of any Paperhand. I kept saying, if you Paperhand a Paperhand, you're going to have a bad time. This is a free mint. It's got utility and great art. This is not, this isn't a Halloween themed thing that you take and flip. I'm sick of folks dunking on one another for 5-matic profit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how can I profit off the flippers? How can I profit off of the, folks who don't read, come into your Discord, want, take, and then fuck off after they flip your asset for 3-matic profit. I knew I will be the one profiting off of you this time. And really, it was the message that I sent more so than the profit. Everyone knows all of our royalties go to our mods and managers, and when we do better, they do better. But I wanted the last laugh in this arc here, and Paperhands was that. So we blocked OpenSea and other aggregator listings that weren't allowing for creator royalties or weren't enforcing them, and we put a little tax there on the flippers. And we had a nice little competition with who can amass the largest Paperhand army. So these assets have been out for about 2 weeks. The art's fantastic. We're already seeing a lot of community-driven storytelling surrounding them, and it's cool. They also motivate our Banshees to stake because they steal the unclaimed hit points at the end of each month. So it's a little bit of a motivator to our Banshees, and it's every protagonist needs an antagonist too in a good storyline.
Yeah, and I like the whole lore. You were speaking in third person. I absolutely love that. And the dedication. Actually, if you could have done the whole interview in third person, that'd have been actually great. But so what is their role in the ecosystem? You said they play a role, but what is that role? Is there going to be like a staking thing or like merch, or what role are they going to play in this Banshee ecosystem besides the lore?
So Queen Obsidian definitely has a role in this ecosystem, and her army, in whatever form that it takes, will also have a role, not only in the storytelling and if you've seen our launch trailers and stuff like that, we're great at thematic storytelling, and beyond that, we hope to continue to expand upon our lore with written and graphic media as well. So they're always going to be the antagonist in our stories, but use case wise, moving the asset as an NFT around, it is the great motivator, right? We intentionally chose half the supply of the Banshees for the Paperhands. If Banshees aren't staked, so every 28 days, this is the only math we'll do on this show, I promise.
Yeah.
Every 28 days, 44 Banshees amass 124,000, a number. every day 44 Banshees get a hit point if they're staked. Well, if they're not staked, that's just laying on the table at the end of the month. I don't reward inactivity. You got to be active. You got to stake. You got to be around. That's the whole point of the Banshees. So right now, the Paperhands are like the great motivator, if you will. Have you ever seen There Will Be Blood? At the end where the guy's like, I drink your milkshake. If my straw is long enough, I'm going to drink your milkshake. That's the Paperhands, man. They got a long-ass straw. They don't have to stake. They don't have to stake anything. They just have to wait for inactive Banshees to not claim what is rightfully theirs. We're giving it to you. Go stake your assets. If you don't, though, the Paperhands are going to come in and gobble up what's left on the table. So they're a motivator. They're an antagonist, and they're going to help further our thematic storytelling as well.
I like it. I actually like the whole lore, and I like that they kind of like feed off each other. So that's actually really, really brilliant in that aspect. And like you talk about like the whole like Banshees, and you know about like you had mentioned earlier, and I kind of caught it, the artwork that you're gonna have like future. Is there gonna be like an art upgrade that I was kind of getting at? You may have let that slip, or maybe did I mishear?
No art upgrade is planned. No art upgrade is planned at this time.
Okay. I thought it was like, wait a minute. I heard you had said something about artwork and merch, although maybe there's an art upgrade coming down the line. But as far as you talk about building on Polygon, right? And you guys started here, and you've been around in spaces and everything like that. Like, how has being a founder on Polygon? How has that been, right? And also, too, how has the community been for you too, as well as bridging with other communities like Matic Man and all these other stuff? Like, how has that whole experience been? Incredible.
I'm standing on the shoulders of giants in this space every day. I'm leaning on shared expertise every day. I almost equate Polygon, not to paint this underdog story. That's not what I'm trying to do here when I say this, but I work in a town that was entirely aluminum production for the longest time. And when aluminum went out, the industry went out, just like, Pittsburgh, where I'm from. When coal and steel went out, what's left? And a lot of these cities stayed with blight. Their local economy wasn't as robust as it was back in its heyday. And what's happening is there a lot of these revitalization efforts that are coming in and allowing providing a pathway for small business owners to all come together and do business in one area. And the first couple of years or something like that, they're going to have guidance from experts that can help them, right? So on one strip of road, you've got a coffee shop and a bagel shop and a textile shop, and there's a robotics factory on that same street, and it all starts on Main Street kind of. And it's like, the robotics factory's got nothing to do with the donut shop or anything, but like when that whole street does better, everyone on that street does better. That city does better. And I really equate that to Polygon oftentimes. Like my success in Banshees is Brozo's success. Manifest success is Polygon's. We can all lean on one another. And it's like a rising tide lifts all ships, and we're very collaborative in nature. I don't see that so much on other chains. When I was first getting my start, Matic Man was the first man to ever give me the time of day. He didn't have to. He could have ran his space. He was running a mint party for his own crypto crew collection. But he brought me up, asked me who the hell I was, and let me talk about my project. I see him as a mentor now. Anytime I have questions, there are so many people that are available and ready to pounce and help and collaborate on Polygon. I wouldn't have asked for any better chain to build on, especially as a founder with an idea who's not strapped with cash, who's not VC backed. I had some pride, I had some passion, I had some great ideas, and Polygon really has facilitated my journey in this ecosystem, and it's mostly thanks to the founders here. I'll say that the ones building in this ecosystem who want others to build with them, it's just a beautiful thing. And building alongside these folks in this bear, where I'm in a Telegram group with Sandeep. He contributed to my charity. Personally, I don't think you see that in other chains so much. where I got this man on speed dial. I can ask him questions. I can lean on the giants that came before me, and when I know that when I give back to this place, I'm working towards something bigger than myself, and that's the Polygon ecosystem as a whole.
That's amazing. So, guys, come build on Polygon. You don't see this kind of like community kind of really elsewhere. Not that I've experienced right now. There could be other places that are just like this though, but the whole vibe, you know, the everything of being on each other's spaces. You know, I never would have even started this if it wasn't for Polygon and some of the people on there. And kind of like in that kind of aspect of it too. You did say that you have like spaces, right? You're on spaces a lot. Like, what are some of the community spaces that the people on this show can go plug in and see if they can get maybe a conversation on you guys or figure out what you guys are trying to do?
So every Tuesday, I actually do a back-to-back, 4 p.m. EST and 5 p.m. EST. Beginning, we've got Polygon Earth Sandwich, because I'm here in the East Coast of Pittsburgh and the East Coast of the U.S. Matic Man's all the way in China, and we're exactly 12 hours apart. So if we, put 2 slices of bread on the ground, we got ourselves a sandwich. Barto's in the middle in France, and that space is a space about anything. We just vibe. Usually there's a topic, and we just chat. That's a great space to come up and introduce yourself, learn more about us. Right after that, we've got the vibe check, where it's, probably 80% Banshee deliverables and up to date. Bring a notepad. Sometimes it turns into a homework assignment. Not often anymore, but right out of the gate there, we were ready to sprint. So it was a big education process for our community. But yesterday we were vibing. It was a great time, and I'm always trying to make the on Polygon spaces. Those are at like 10 my time. On Polygon, Smokey, Brandoff, and a lot of guests usually have a topic. That's a great space to attend. The chat and chill space that the chats have put up is another great space that I try to attend as much as I can. MetaVixens have a space on Thursday as well. That's a great one. Enigmatic Man spaces, Friendship Friday, Making a Difference Monday. What the heck else do we got? I think that's it. That's a lot of spaces. I enjoy putting myself out there and chatting and collaborating. Because the last bear market I had to endure was on a subreddit, and you would just check like the daily chat, and like it was harder to share in solidarity with folks and build through just like a text channel. But now you've got all these great people to lean on. Spaces will get up into the triple digits at times on Polygon spaces. They're great. Definitely attend anything that I just mentioned.
No, yeah, and definitely. And as far as spaces and everything like that, and getting founders on, like this is very rare. So like, but when I was kind of in it, right, and I was kind of going through this NFT bull market, it was super hard. Like I said, get you a founder on and doing any kind of anything was super hard. Like you were lucky to get a founder on to do an AMA once every 3 months. So for you guys to be on here, it's a little weird still. Like I'm still talking to the guy of Banshees, or I'm talking to the guy of just all these other projects I've interviewed, like Sally. I had Sally on. The main people of the project. It's just still very weird. I almost sometimes got like, oh man, these are actually not just community managers. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm actually talking to the person that's actually running the whole show. So it's still been a little bit of getting used to.
The Wild West of Polygon, if you will. We were there at one point. I remember, like, Twitter Spaces was a place that you would go maybe once a month, once every 2 months for a project, and like, okay, let me get 500 people in here, the most that I can. I'm going to shoot my shot. We're going to say a couple things, and everyone's going to clap, and it's going to be the greatest thing ever. We'll keep this hype train going. I'm like, you didn't BCC wasn't hanging out in, the Polygon Ape Yacht Club space, even though they should have been. Why did it take so long to bridge that gap? And I think times have changed, right? Like, really, they came here and then they bridged. But I think I owe a lot of the camaraderie and the working togetherness and stuff like that to like 3 events. The super spaces that came together over the summer that really brought people out, hosting more spaces, co-hosting, showing up to spaces, and getting that reward. The Utes Bridge, when you have a lot of content creators and creatives and opinion leaders, whatever you want to call them. The Utes is a pretty diverse group of folk, and I think wherever they end up, I wish them the best. But I think the Polygon ecosystem is better off having had Utes come and go. I don't think we're worse off for them leaving, but I think we got a little bit closer when they showed up, and I equated it to like, Polygon, we were all in this cul-de-sac there for a while, and Utes were one of the first ones to show up and like barbecue and play some flip cup in the front yard. And everyone caught notice and started going around and meeting one another. And, you saw creatives being community managers for projects. It was just a net positive. So I think those two things really brought the space closer together. And then, just steadfast, diehard MFers like Matic Man, who never went anywhere, kept building in this bear market. There's several others, Metaverse Johnny, just those folks who showed up every day and just gave people a place to rub elbows and get to know each other. We were not always like this.
No, not at all. And it's just, like I said, it's great and it's very refreshing. And, I kind of want to talk about the actual NFT technology itself, right? Like, in essence, where do you see actually the NFT like tech kind of going in the next kind of 5 years? Is it something that, is it something that's going to be around? Is it something that's actually going to grow and actually evolve? Or is it something kind of like a flash in the pan, kind of like what Metaverse was like back in the last bull run and kind of like faded off? Or do you see actually this technology growing and actually having some sort of like, other use cases too as well? I just would love to get your opinion on that.
So I'm really bullish I'm even bullish on the metaverse. In fact, like the metaverse and Web3 gaming are actually almost what brought me into the space to begin with. I make maps and 3D models in Web2. I love my job. I'm pretty specialized, but I've always loved, the idea of mapping maybe a college campus or a graveyard or an oil refinery, taking something in the real world, bringing that actually into the metaverse, like this actual place that actually exists, and then having people be able to run around and play multiplayer games in, or do business in, or tour a museum. All of those things where you can digitize real world places, not assets, and then bring that into a place where people from all over the world, regardless of their able-bodiedness or distance from an area, you get to experience that. And we're still a ways off from that play. A lot of the maps and models that I make would break a game instantly because they're 5 gigabytes or something, and they're static and they're bulky and their polygon counts are crazy. But we'll get, maybe not the next generation of graphics cards, but the ones after that might be able to handle tasks like that. Because when the metaverse experience is clunky, it's not fun for anyone to really interact with each other. So I think we're still a ways off for metaverse plays, but we're not a ways off at all for ensuring digital ownership, verifying digital ownership. An NFT is a handshake represented by a picture. And, imagine if Call of Duty 97 comes out and you spend a lot of money on cosmetics and upgrades, and then 20 days later, Call of Duty 98 comes out and you got to buy all these new assets and skins for your stuff. Like, the ownership that I took into this game, I should be able to carry that into other games. So I'm really bullish on that. Just ensuring that digital assets are truly owned and not just rented or something like that. So the gaming play always has me bullish. I would love to see tickets. I'd love to see voting all handled on some sort of blockchain technology. Doesn't even have to be Web3. And then ultimately, layer 2s, especially like Polygon, scaling solutions to the Ethereum blockchain, I'm incredibly bullish on. I don't have to know the technology of my Visa card to know that when I tap it on the thing, I get my cold brew. I don't have to know the infrastructure of that payment processor or that transaction processor. I don't even give a darn that it's Visa, if you know where I'm going with this. I know that when I put my plastic on that screen, I get a cold brew and I go about my day or something. So all this technology is going to be beautiful, but it's going to be in the background. I don't think we're going to have chain maxis much longer.
No.
Bitcoin is Bitcoin, obviously, but when we expand upon what Web3 really offers, I'm bullish about it being ubiquitous. And hanging out and not even knowing I'm on Solana, hanging out, not even knowing this thing's powered by Polygon, and just interacting, proving ownership of assets, and scaling what beautiful technology Ethereum has for builders.
Yeah, and I love that. I love hearing other people's opinion, on like the NFT technology and everything like that. I'm bullish on the metaverse too, though. But I think that kind of just everybody kind of like use it, and then kind of just threw it away. So I was like, dang. But also, in that, I do want to kind of get your kind of opinion on this too as well. Like, so we definitely have, like, we're all bullish on the Polygon ecosystem as a whole, right? Like, and I definitely want to know about the NFT ecosystem and also the actual future of Matic or Pol itself. Like, where do you see that kind of like in the next kind of bull run? It doesn't have to be so much price rise, but like, do you think that the Polygon NFT ecosystem will be a thriving ecosystem? And do you think Matic will do like really well when it comes into the next bull run?
So I will admit that I have a lot to learn about the underlying, I can rattle off ZK EVM, and I know there's a huge update today that I need to read about. I'm incredibly bullish on layer 2s for Ethereum. And I think Matic is the best one. I think Polygon is really ripping it, kicking ass. And, Vitalik himself said, we have no intention to scale Ethereum. Layer 2s are going to scale Ethereum. So that's what has me really bullish. Whether you use Polygon to prove, a handshake on loaning a Rolex to someone, or whether it represents a tiger skin gun for someone in a video game, whether it's a kick-ass PFP. I definitely think that we'll be here a lot longer than PFPs will, and I really, really hope we expand beyond that PFP, because I don't think you onboard the masses by getting them to pay for a profile picture. I just don't think that's there. We'll always have PFPs that are kind of status symbols, like, hey, I have $6 million, check out this PFP or something like that.
Yeah.
But the underlying technology has me most bullish, and I'm also the least informed about that facet of it. But layer 2 scaling has me going, and I think Polygon is the best L2 solution for scaling Ethereum. And I've been bullish on Ethereum for 6 years now. So
So that's actually interesting, though. So I want to ask you this, right? So you experienced bear markets kind of like before. I experienced this one, but I've only had one to kind of reference, right? And as being a founder, and the question I have, one, was this the worst bear market that you've experienced? And two, what are some of the challenges you've had to kind of overcome in building in this bear market?
It's certainly the longest bear market I've ever experienced. I wouldn't say it's the worst. 2017 was bad. I was uneducated, overinvested. I told you my entry point into Ethereum at the time was like $900 and then up to $1,400 or something like that. But I kept buying all the way down. I remember buying ETH for $86 near Christmas at one point. I couldn't even tell you the year, 2018 or 19. I think it was 2018. So there have been worse. And at that time, I didn't have almost like that solidarity. I didn't have that support network. I wasn't in it for the tech. I was in it for the cash. I was in it to see the number go up, let me buy all these coins and stuff that I like and make money. And I did the opposite of that. So I wouldn't say it's the worst. It's definitely the longest. And there are benefits to building in a bear. There really are. The availability of everyone. You can take your time. You're allowed to be wrong. Imagine that. Someone who's wrong. Crazy.
Don't you
crazy
dare.
Thing.
You
don't get run out of town when you're wrong, You get to try again. You can fail quick and learn from that. But I will say, when we planned to go through with Banshees, I was looking at like, okay, I'd like to raise between 60 and 100,000 US to get done everything I want to get done on my timeline, to pay myself. That's what I was hoping to get. We raised about 40, I think, and we minted for 12 days. But I have a dream in mind. We took the percentages on our mint allocation that we had set out, and we got done everything and more on our roadmap. And I have Billionaire Zombies Club to thank for that. Just the necessity breeds ingenuity, and you take what you have and you get 3-4 quotes from goods and services, and you do a lot of the work yourself. You learn on your own dime. I say it all the time. My time is worth $0.00 right now because I'm building something bigger than myself that is one day going to pay me back. I'm absolutely confident in the growth of Blackmarket, growth of the Banshees ecosystem, all of that. I am fine, building something that I love and that has traction. And, we've seen that rewarded already. We raised, and Matic was 51 cents. I think it's like 92 cents or something like that today. So just keeping a lot of our funds in the treasury in Matic has done us a lot of good. We didn't pay ourselves heaps of cash. I didn't spend it all on something stupid. We had a vision when we set out before we mint. We put our mint allocation there. We've stuck to it, and we've just continued to deliver. And it's incredible what you can do when you're not flush with cash. I mean, you've seen some projects flush with cash.
Yeah.
Where the hell did the money go? And we don't have that problem because we didn't start out with very much money. But we're making things work, and sweat equity, man, that shit is priceless.
No, yeah, and that's what I like to hear. Founders that are, that stuck through or building in this market, and you guys should be 100% bullish on the people that stayed around and actually, took some of the hits, failed a little bit, but here they are still building and still grinding through this market. And, kind of basically, I do want to ask you this, though. I honestly think that this time next year, we're going to be in a lot different kind of space. I think this is going to be, we're going to be a little bit more happier. I think we're going to be up a lot more, and it's going to be a different kind of space. Like, where would you like the Banshees to be a year from now?
Banshees a year from now, I've got a Genesis collection that I've never once diluted, not ever. We've got some thematic storytelling. We've got community driving our art. We've got a robust token that rewards activity and effort. We are just as, and if not more, inevitable than we are right now. We've got a badass game on everyone's cell phone. They can pull out of their pocket and play some shit in the App Store. We've got a token, and we're creeping our way into the Google Play Store with our native token, building a great game that people have no idea is even Web3 related. And then when they go to dig a little deeper, gotcha. Here's this token that's claimable. Come on down to Polygon. Here's a wallet we made for you when this game was made. Transfer these assets out into a safe wallet. I want to onboard a lot of people with a gamification strategy, and I want to continue to enrich the robust ecosystem that I have right now. I started off this conversation with you saying the power of being able to activate 1 to 10% of my community at any given time. I hope that community grows, and I'm able to activate 25% of them at any given time, because we'll really be kicking ass then.
That's great. That's great to hear. And hold on, I wasn't gonna let you go, but game.
Yes. So when we did our raise, I didn't say a damn thing about a game. I learned my lesson from last time, right? Yeah. I wanted to do a raise first, provide value to the ecosystem first, and then build a game with it. The second we got our raise, we sent out a request for proposal for a mobile app, for a mobile game. We got 3 entertainers. We proceeded with 2 of them. We're down to a studio that I'm very confident on. We have a minimum viable product, which is just, a 2D, avoid detection, do something. I'm talking too much about it already. We have a minimum viable product on a game already, and I want to really see what my artist is capable of with doing in-game assets and, soundtrack creation, game creation. It's going to be a fun game first. You're not even going to have any idea that you're plugging into Web3, but Web3 folk who do know about it can ultimately bring their assets over into this game. If your Banshee's got a suit and a katana, you can bring that suit and katana into the game. That is your Banshee. You can play it in whatever game we end up releasing. And I hope it's the first of many. I want to get my foot in the door into the puppies. I want to get my foot into the door and Google Play and Apple Store with a great game that has a Web3 backbone. And I want it to be incredibly successful.
Yeah, no, like I said, you got a lot of stuff kind of going on, and before you go though, you've been great and everything like that. But is there anything else you want to say, or is there any community members you want to shout out, or anybody you want to shout out in general?
Yeah, so I tend to be the mouthpiece of Banshees.
Yeah.
I do ops, but I am, again, it takes a village. S-Rob and Bobo and Witch, my co-founders, Maddie, all my mods and managers, it really does take a village. And there are so many people who don't get that spotlight shown on them that deserve all the praise in the world. So I am not some brilliant, flawless person that goes out in the ecosystem and does shit. I'm a human. I seek information from people that I really respect and deem a lot smarter than me. And I think that's why Banshees is so kick-ass, because I've never awarded the hype train mentality. In fact, I punish it sometimes. I don't go degen, I don't go FOMO. Banshees is here to stay. We are that slow burn with utility every step of the way. And I have it all thanks to a lot of experts who work in the background for this place's benefit. And I'm thankful every day for the team that I've assembled and the expertise that I've gathered while cooking in the bear market and really just rubbing elbows with a lot of brilliant, great people.
That is great, and I appreciate you so much, Base Buddha, for coming on the show. But guys, this is going to wrap our show. If you like content like this, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow me on X, follow Base Buddha on X, follow Banshees on X. I have everything kind of pinned down to the bottom. And guys, my name is Jarek. I have that dog in me, and I will see you guys around on the next one. Take care.
Thank you.